Hey guys, welcome back to DCS. And yes, finally I'm back. I'm uploading videos again after a 5-6 month. I don't know what to call it. It wasn't really a break, really. It wasn't a very pleasant time for me past 5-6 months. It's just a rough period the past 5-6 months, so I wouldn't really call it a break. But whatever it was, I'm back here. I'm uploading to YouTube again. Here we are in DCS world. So everything is good for now. And here we are, finally, we're in the DCS F-16C, guys. Like, if you had told me 5-6 years ago that we will see a DCS title, F-16 module, I would have said maybe not. But here we are, it's finally here. The DCS F-16C is here. I believe this is the Block 50. I was hoping for the Block 52, but here we are, we have the Block 50. So that means it's harm capable. We can shoot harm missiles at radar sites and so on and so forth. So let's get some stuff out of the way. So I apologize to every single one of you, of my subscribers, especially those who are looking forward to the Kingdom Come Deliverance playthrough videos. I had to stop the Woman's Lot DLC like after the third video. I probably will do a channel update. I'll go through why I wasn't able to upload. Nothing serious really, but it was just a rough period for me. So let's get some lights on in the cockpit. Get some illumination going. It does look pretty, doesn't it? The green lights inside the cockpit in the DCS F-16 look amazing. Look at that B-1 bomber coming in on final approach. Looks pretty good. So yeah, I have to apologize to you guys, especially those who are looking forward to that Woman's Lot DLC gameplay through. I got a couple of messages, people telling me to continue uploading, but I apologize. I really, truly wasn't able to. Yeah, there we go. Touchdown. Bit of error braking. Nice. So yeah, I will have something really special for you guys. Those of you looking forward to the Kingdom Come Deliverance playthrough, we will have something special for you very soon. So, anyways, today's about the F-16. Let's have a look around. I think this is by far the best looking module that Eagle Dynamics has done, in my opinion. Like, in terms of graphics, it looks absolutely amazing. It looks phenomenal. Like, have a look at the stick. That's the first thing that I tried out. Because the stick is like, on the F-16 is like pressure based. Like, you can only move it ever so slightly. If you move the control surfaces, you can see that the stick only moves ever so slightly. So it's only pressure based. So none of that moving traditional stick. So let's get the nose wheel steering going. You can see that nose wheel steering is active. Let's salute the crew chief. And let's head off. Let's start taxiing. We'll do a brake check. There we go. Nice. And you have that classic, that's really, really nicely modeled, that classic F-16 bounce. The nose wheel strut does a little bounce every time you brake. Like, if you've watched any F-16 videos, you'll see how it just does that little bounce as soon as, like, you tap on the brakes. Now, for taxiing the F-16, from what I know, like, it's been out for like a month now, I believe, the F-16. And I've played it, I've flown it out a couple of times now, but it seems like for taxiing it's okay, but you gotta be really mindful of trying to do sharp turns on the ground, because the F-16 will tip over. You will tip the aircraft over. So that's one thing to keep in mind. What else? It's also a pain in the neck trying to take off or land in crosswinds, guys. Oh my god. Because I think it's because of the narrow landing gear configuration of the F-16. It's just an absolute nightmare to try and take off in a crosswind. I have not been able to master the crosswind takeoffs in the F-16. The F-18 is way more stable on takeoff and landing, even in crosswinds. So, let's do our pre-takeoff checklist. Make sure the pitot heat is on. Let's make sure that the flaps are in the primary control. The trim switches are all connected and everything is centered and neutral. Let's make sure that the EPU is off. Let's check that the engine is in the primary control. So those are the checks that we have to do. Turn on the auxiliary radio, not radar. Let's turn on the RWR. You can see the RWR is now on. Let's go ahead next and arm the countermeasures panel. Turn the countermeasure measure system on. Turn on our helmet-mounted cueing system. Let's check the brakes, the air brakes. You can just see it right there. That we'll cycle the brakes, the air brakes. Make sure they're open, they're closed. That's all good. Now you can set the Cat 1, Cat 3 stores depending on how the amount of weight that you're carrying on the pylons. Let's make sure that we have the anti-skid ABS kind of brakes set. That's all good. Let's check what else we got to do. Yes, let's go ahead and alright, I'll just show you guys. There we go. Left to right, you can see that the helmet mounted cueing system works. Master arm on, laser armed. This switch right here, guys, that's important if you want to have your targeting pod working very quickly. Everything else seems to be good. Oxygen panel's fine. The ejection seat, as you can see, if it's not armed, you get that warning light, caution warning light. So that's on. The canopy's down and locked. We don't have any lights for that. Let's check the fuel tanks. Yes, the fuel system is all good. We'll check the internal, external, and another check. Yep, it's all good. So everything's all good. We're good to go. Now, as you guys can see, I was just showing you guys this helmet-mounted cueing system. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So let's roll onto the runway. All right. Single ship F-16 taking the active. Guys, this is my dream come true for DCS. This is my my favorite 4th gen fighter of all time. Like, I don't want any more 4th gen fighters for me personally from DCS. This is it. Like, if they finish this module, if they complete this module, that's all I want from DCS in terms of 4th gen. All right, so we're lined up and we need to increase the throttle up to 90% or so, and then we need to check for warnings, make sure nothing is broken on the jet before we take off. So just around 90%, everything seems fine, fuel flow is good, brakes released, and full afterburner. Now, even if you have asymmetrical load on the aircraft, as you can see, it starts just slightly moving left to right. It's not as stable as the F-18 on the takeoff roll, as well as on the landing roll as well. So there we go, 180, 190, pulling back gently. Off we go, we're off. Landing gear up. Very, very nice. Now, one thing that I really like about the F-16 module in DCS is that the sound is absolutely fantastic. Like, it sounds so good. It's probably one of the best sounding jets that I've experienced, really, in DCS. I'm not sure if it's coming through the video, but it's just amazing. So let's go ahead and climb up to 15,000 feet or so. We'll keep the afterburner going. This thing is an absolute rocket ship, guys. It will accelerate, it will climb like you will not believe. You will not believe how good this thing climbs. Alright, let's begin to level off. Ever so slightly. We'll go air to air on the master mode. We already have the master arm on. Now, today, what are we going to do today? So, I have a couple of trucks, like artillery. Okay, let me start over. We have an artillery battery and a couple of supporting trucks and elements out there that we're going to go and bomb and strafe. But I also have a drone Mi-8 helicopter, Russian Mi-8 helicopter set up over here somewhere. So we're going to engage that first, and then once everything else is destroyed, 2 MiG-23s will show up, and we're going to have to go and fight them. Now, let's zoom in on the radar scope, on the B scope, and as you can see, there are 2 targets there. So I'm going to do an IFF check, which is an M4 check, and we can see that one of them, if I zoom in, there we go, you can see that one of them is showing green, which is friendly. Okay, so we're going to go TMS left long on this target, and you can see it's green. It's showing up as green, so that's a friendly. It could be those Chinooks. It could be a friendly drone. But what about the guy on the left? So the guy on the left should be the Mi-8. If I'm not mistaken. And that wedding cake that you see there is the selected waypoint. So we have him in situational awareness mode, or SAM mode, and then we'll go TMS up long again, and we'll go into STT, single target track. So here we have him locked up. We're going to select the AIM-9Xs, and he's over there. We have him locked up, but I just want to show you guys the AIM-9X being fired through the helmet-mounted queuing system. And for that, you have to select the bore sight on the AIM-9X for you to be able to fire it on the helmet mounting queuing system, as you can see. And then we'll go TMS up short to get into to have basically bore sight mode on the radar as well. So we have him locked up on radar, and there we go, AIM-9X tone, and whoa, look at that missile fly. Boom, nice splash. One Mi-8 down. Have a look at those Chinooks over there. Those are the friendly Chinooks, and I'll just show you. If you go cage on cage, there we go. We locked the Chinooks. So we have them both locked up, and we have the AIM-9 Seeker looking at them too if you wanted to fire at them. So let's go to air to ground. Let's go to air to ground. Let's bomb that enemy artillery battery and the supporting elements. So for that, let's climb up. So for the air to ground stuff, I'm carrying two GBU-12s. So those are two 500-pound laser guided bombs, as well as two CBU-97s, I believe. So here's the TGP. We have that on the left MFD. That's already warmed up. On the right side, we're going to select the GBU-12s. As soon as we select CCRP, the TGP will slew to the waypoint that we have selected. Now, guys, keep in mind that this is early access. It is super early access. So lots of stuff in the F-16C is not working. It's not implemented. It's just it's working halfway. So you have to keep this in mind. It's super duper early access. So as you can see, we have the TGP in TV mode. We can zoom in onto that artillery battery. And of course, you get other options as well. So at the moment it's TV. Now we have white hot. We have black hot. In my opinion, black hot is better. Gives you a little bit more definition. So those guns, those artillery, whatever you want to call them, artillery SPGs or whatever, are guarded by two Shilkas. So we're going to go for the Shilkas first. Those are the ZSU 23mm AAA radar guided vehicles. So we're going to go ahead and lock them up. So I'll go TMS up long, and then we'll do a point track, as you can see. So our TGP is now locked onto that Shilka. Now, as I said, guys, this is super duper early access for the DCS F-16C. It's not even available on the stable version of the of DCS. So if you want to play this, if you've bought it and you want to get hands on it, you need to download the open beta version of DCS. So I will get into the whole discussion. Some people aren't happy that Eagle Dynamics has done the DCS F-16 when they haven't finished the F-18 already. But in my opinion, it was worth it. Like, I would rather have the F-16 in the game than not have it. And if you guys know anything about the history of the F-16 versus the F-18, those planes are quite identical in terms of systems. They're very, very similar. So it actually makes sense. It's a natural choice for them, since they're already doing the F-18, for them to do the F-16 as well. Then they can develop them in parallel, guys. So that's my opinion on that. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of symbology on the HUD, distance to target, the ETA. As you can see on the left MFD, we have that Shilka locked up. It's on a point track, and it's a classic CCRP delivery of the GBU-12. So you line up the flight path marker with the azimuth steering line, and as soon as that little line comes down from the top, hold the pickle button. There we go. Bombs away. And now you gotta push the trigger on the first D10, and you can see the L flashing on the MFD. That means that the laser is firing and the weapon is tracking. Goodbye, Mr. Shilka. He won't even know what hit him. Any minute now. Oh, there we go. Boom. Nice. Alright, so that's one Shilka down. One more to go. Now the targeting pod gets masked. Like it gets blocked by the aircraft and the way that you're turning. So all you have to do is point your nose down, point the nose of the aircraft down, and you can momentarily get a glimpse of the next target, and you can just lock it up. Now, we're going to go ahead and do a left-hand turn. We'll do a left-hand turn, and that will give us some time to properly set up the target in the targeting pod and do one more run with another GBU-12 on top of the second Shilka. And there we go. We can see that, there we go, if we zoom in, that's the second Shilka. Let's go ahead and select black hot, we'll go white hot, there we go. So the target stands out a little bit more when you have the thermal selected instead of the TV. Now guys, let's talk about the F-18 versus the F-16. And obviously, as I said, some people aren't happy that that Eagle Dynamics is doing the F-16 while the F-18 isn't completed. But like the F-18 came out just over a year ago, and like it did not have the targeting pod that the F-16 has. It didn't have laser guided bombs that the F-16 has, but also the F-18 had some more coarse important stuff that the F-16 does not have at the moment. For example, a damage model, a proper damage model. Like at the beginning, the F-16 had no damage model, like the first week that it came out. Like you could scrape the wings under the ground, nothing would happen. But now they've updated that, and you will take damage. So holding down the pickle button, let's watch that GBU-12 fall. There we go. Boom. So now we're pulling the trigger to the first stage, and you can see that flashing L. That means that the bomb is guiding off the laser, or at least the laser is firing. So that's the thing. Now, as I was saying, yeah, the damage model has been updated for the F-16, and it is better. But it is a very, very much, and boom, there you go, strike, nice. It is very much a very, very early access module at this moment. So that's that. But it as I said before, it does make sense to develop them together because they share a lot of systems. A lot of systems can be co-developed for both aircraft. It's the 16 and the 18 at the same time. Now, the next thing that I want to show you guys is the gun, the M60, I believe it is, the 20mm gun. So we're going to go ahead and select the gun in strafe mode. Now, the really, really cool thing about the F-16 in the air-to-ground strafing mode is that you can select a very far slant range to fire. We're going to go ahead and select 10,000 feet slant range. That is significant, guys. That is so much better than the F-18. Like, if I remember correctly, in the F-18, by the time you get that in-range cue for the gun reticle, you're pretty much on top of the target. And it doesn't give you a lot of room to pull out, and it definitely puts you in range of retaliation from whatever it is that you're shooting at. Now, with the F-16, as you guys will see, you can shoot at a very far range and still be very accurate and pull off at the same time before you're in range for them to retaliate back at you. Now, we're firing the gun in the CCIP, obviously, mode. You can see the reticle on the HUD. Now, we want to get the targets just under the side of the canopy, and then hopefully do a 30-degree dive on top of them. And as soon as we're in range, we'll do a 1-second pull on the trigger, and that should be enough. And of course, various different types of ammunition for the gun has been developed. There's armor piercing incendiary. There's a couple of different other ones as well. There's also practice rounds as well, which I have not used, and I don't know what it would be used for. Alright, so lining up that center dot in the middle of the reticle with where those trucks are, and as soon as that unwinding clock goes down, and there we go, we can fire. Just a 1-second burst, and then we can pull out. So we're pretty much safe from retaliation if there's anything down there with small arms. Obviously, anything with larger caliber rounds could still come up and hit us, but it's really, really fun, and it's very, very accurate to shoot the gun in air-to-ground mode in the F-16. A wonderful, wonderful system. So let's go ahead and select the CBU-97s now. Go back to air-to-ground, select the pair of CBU-97s. We will select the spacings, and I think I will go for 50. Yeah, 50 feet of spacing between the two bombs. And we will probably, yeah, we will drop them in CCRP as well. Now, you guys know my opinion about the cluster bombs. I don't like cluster bombs. I've already said that before. They're a horrible weapon. They maim and kill a lot of innocent people later on after they've been used. But CBU-97s are a little bit different. Cluster bombs in general are against the Geneva Convention. They're a banned weapon, and they're banned for a very good reason. In real life, obviously, we're playing a video game. It's different. But the CBU-97s are supposedly smart, and I've just been using them with the F-16, and they're a very, very potent weapon. So we'll select CCRP, and we'll get the TGP pointing at the target area, as you can see, and then we'll just create a weapon designate point, a steer point, basically wherever we place that thing, the TGP. It will create a point for us where we can use it to release the bombs in CCRP. Now, as I was saying, CBU-97s are very, very potent. I've come to find that out in the F-16. They basically, they're smart munitions. They're quote-unquote smart cluster bombs, where the canister will open, it will eject out a whole bunch of little smaller bomblets that are, I'm not sure how they're guided, but they'll guide themselves down to anything that's on the ground, any vehicle, anything, and they'll take it out with a shape-charged tip. Now, any of the remaining cluster bombs that haven't exploded just detonate themselves, and they just self-destruct. I'm not sure how realistic that is in real world, but yeah. So getting ready, holding down the pickle button, less than 10 seconds. There we go. Let's watch the bombs fall. And there we go, pickle to CBU-97s. Now at this point, it doesn't need to be guided by any sort of laser or anything like that. They will just release, and they will hang around the target in a parachute, and they will attack anything that they see. So any minute now, any second, our TGP will be masked, and we're going to have to watch this the old-fashioned way, just out of the cockpit. And we haven't talked about the cockpit, guys. How amazing is the view from the F-16 cockpit? I mean, why isn't every other aircraft, every other modern fighter like this? I mean, why would you have bars all around the cockpit? What's the point? Let's see if we can see the CB. Yep, yeah, we can see it. We can see the CBU-97s going off. Oh, look at that mayhem. That's absolute mayhem down there. Yep, there we go. We're getting a message now. Top right corner, MiG-23s inbound. Yep, the MiGs have spawned. So I designed the mission in a way that once we took out that artillery battery, 2 MiG-23s, AI MiG-23s set to excellent difficulty, will show up with everything. They're loaded for bear. They have long-range missiles, they have heat-seeking missiles, and they're barreling towards us right now at Mach 1.5. So we need to go ahead and go to air-to-ground, air-to-air. And there we go. They have the flight control radar FCR on the left MFD. And we're going to go ahead and lock one of them up. So TMS up short will take us into SAM mode, or situational awareness mode. Now, the good thing about this mode is that you can launch an AM-120 without alerting the enemy that an AM-120 has been launched. But then, obviously, if you go TMS up again, you will go into STT. And for some reason, we lost lock. Okay, let's go ahead and lock him up again. Come on. There we go. STT again. So that box represents where the target is. Again. We lost luck. What's going on? It's early access, I guess. What can you do? So we'll go TMS up again. Twice. And we got him an STT. So the target is boxed. And that circle in the middle is our ranging queue. And that smaller circle down the bottom, just next to the heading tape, is where we need to aim to get the missile off. And down the right side, as you can see, is the range and the closure rate of 1,170 knots. So they're coming in, they're at 20 miles, getting ready to shoot. Come on. Yep, fire one. One AIM-120 away. They're firing on me. Let's select the other guy. Let's look up the other wingman. Come on. Yep, I can see him firing already. Get ready. Yep, another AIM-120 away. Fox 3. Good. So now let's go ahead and notch. Dump a whole bunch of chaff and flare. We'll dive down. Make it harder for the missile to pick us up from the background of the ground. Yep, they're right there. I have no idea if my missile has impacted or what. Let's see what we can see on the radar. Yep, I have one contact. Lock him up. An STT. Come on. Come on. There we go. Lock him up. 32 degrees or so off the nose to the right. Yep, down there. Alright, we're out of AIM-120, so let's go to the AIM-9s. We have to go to the AIM-9s and we have to select the bore sight mode so we can fire it. Oh, there we go. Yep, we just fired. It had a tone and just fired. Okay, I can see the wreck of one aircraft dead ahead. I'm not sure what happened to his wingman. He could be on R6. He could be on R6. But you guys would have already seen this because I would have edited the impact footage out for you guys. So you guys already know what's happening. Where are you? Where are you? Let's dump a whole bunch of chaff and flare just in case. Come on, fella. I don't see him. But it's always the aircraft that you don't see is going to kill you. Yeah, I have no eyes. I don't know where he is. I can only see one wreck on the ground. Just making sure that he is not behind me. I don't have any contacts on the RWR. And I can't see him. Alright, let's go ahead and contact Magic, the AWACS. Let's ask for a vector to bogey.
Overlord, Springfield, 1-1. Request bogey dope. Springfield, 1-1. Overlord, Bravo, 278, 410.
For 10. At 35,000. No, that can't be right. That can't be the MiG-23s. Uh-huh.
Overlord, Springfield, 1-1. Request
Yeah, just give me the picture. If there's any single group. Ah. Alright, that seems to be the enemy AWACS. That's the A-50, I think, at 35,000 feet. That cannot be the MiG-23s. If they're at 35,000 feet, there's no way. Yeah, that's the enemy A-50, whatever it is, the Russian version of the AWACS. Merged? What? So is the MiG-23 alive or what? Merged. He just called merged. Magic just called merged. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I only have guns. I only have guns. No missiles. Nope, can't see anything. Let's just dump a whole bunch of flare and chaff. No, I don't see him. I think it's just that the Magic is calling the enemy AWACS.
Overlord, Springfield, 1-1. Request picture. Springfield, 1-1. Overlord, single group.
Yep, single group. 35,000. Yeah, that has to be the enemy AWACS. So we're clean. So you guys have, as I said, have already seen this. I've probably edited this into the video where you can see the impact. But apparently we shot down both MiG-23s, or if they might have crashed or whatever. So 2 AIM-120s 2 kills. Very nice. 2 for the F-16. Now, guys, this is a dream come true for me in DCS. This is pretty much what I wanted in DCS world. Like, in terms of a 4th gen fighter, this is what I want. This is probably the most famous workhorse of most air forces around the world. Obviously, the US Air Force as well. The F-16, and we're doing a low flyby, supersonic pass of the target area. Why not? 9.2 G. That was pretty good. So yeah, as I was saying, this is what I wanted. Like, eventually, when this thing is fully developed, fully finished, this will be my favorite module in DCS, and I probably won't need any other 4th gen fighter for that matter. It is the workhorse of the many of the world's air forces out there. So this is pretty much what most people want from DCS. Just the F-16. The Viper is amazing. Now, which is it? Is it the Viper or is it the Fighting Falcon? I remember playing. There we go. Pulling 8G. I'm trying to pull the 9G. Do a 9G turn, but we're way too slow. I remember playing in the 1990s this F-16 simulator game. Obviously a very, very old game, but it was the F-16 Fighting Falcon, and it was absolutely amazing. So this is my first aircraft that I've played in a simulator. It was the F-16. 6.5 G. Obviously, we don't have the speed to do the whole 9G turn in the F-16, but this thing does turn on a dime, guys. It is absolutely fantastic. Like, if you're at 50% fuel, talking about fuel, there we go, we're in bingo. If you're at 50% fuel and you're at full afterburner on takeoff with a clean configuration, you will accelerate in a climb. It's an absolute rocket ship, and it's an absolute pleasure to fly. Now, as I said at the beginning, I absolutely commend Eagle Dynamics for making the F-16. It absolutely makes sense in terms of development to do the F-16 and the F-18 together. They share a lot of systems, guys, and if they're being co-developed, both modules will benefit from the work that's being done. So stuff doesn't go to waste. It's not like developing an F-18 and a MiG-29 at the same time. Completely separate aircraft. These two aircraft are very, very similar. Now, I need you guys' help with something. Tell me what you want to see from the F-16. Do you guys want to see a full-blown tutorial guide view, like on the whole F-16, like from start to finish? Like, do you guys want a whole series on a guide on the F-16, or do you want me to make oh, we're getting a landing gear warning. If you're below a certain speed and you don't have your landing gear down, obviously you get the warning. Now, I want you guys to tell me what you want to see for the F-16. A full tutorial series, or do you guys just want me to do some early access tutorial stuff, like how to turn it on, how to do dogfighting, like the weapon stuff? Because obviously, keep in mind that the aircraft isn't fully done. It's not fully ready, so it would be very difficult to make a full tutorial series on this aircraft, because as systems come online, things change, procedures change, things get added, things get removed, so it might make some of the tutorial videos completely redundant. I could also do like missions that I make myself, like this one. Obviously a little bit more complicated missions where you need to go and attack an objective or provide like a cap or something like that. Just let me know. Let me know in the comment section. So here we are. Trying to land. In terms of landing configuration, it is very similar to the F-18. You have to set the flight path marker in the middle of the E bracket, and you also have the AOA indexer on the left side of the HUD. At the moment, you can see we have the green donut. Just keeping the throttle in a way that we don't lose too much speed. Now you have to be at 300 feet, about a mile away from the runway. So I think this is about right. This is where we need to be. 300 feet, 1 mile away from the runway. So we'll put the flight path marker at the threshold of the runway, and then slowly bring down the throttle. And as you bring down the throttle and keep the flight path marker there, that E bracket is going to rise, as you can see. And then we'll be on AOA. Now, one different thing about this and the F-18 is that you need to flare in this. The landing gear isn't a beefy Navy landing gear. There we go. So we're on AOA. Perfect. Good. And there we go. Throttle back all the way and touch down. Now, once you touch down, you need to hold the nose up. Not too much. Otherwise, you'll scrape the engine onto the ground on the runway. So you need to hold the nose up just a little bit to do some aero braking, and then maintain control using the rudder. And there we go. Nose wheel is down as well. You need to maintain your direction onto the runway with rudder pedals only. And you can set the nose wheel steering, activate that once you're below 30 knots. Now, as I was saying, the narrow landing gear on the F-16 make takeoffs and landings difficult. But it's almost becomes impossible in strong crosswinds. The aircraft will just tip over. And also, it's very difficult to carry any sort of asymmetrical load on the aircraft. That will also affect that. But this was a good sortie. So let's begin shutting down some stuff. So we can turn off the pitot heat. We don't want that to burn. So just gently braking, and there we go. We can have the nose wheel steering on now. And then we can get off the runway in the next taxiway. But yeah. It is obviously a very, very iconic, famous aircraft. And it's absolutely a pleasure to fly in DCS. There we go. And then we'll taxi back to exactly where we started at the beginning. Now we can begin shutting down more systems here. Turn everything off, turn off the INS. Now, as you guys can see, the MFDs are gone, the HUD is gone, and then we'll gently taxi back to where we came from. Now, one thing that I forgot to do, guys, is that you need to put the TGP in the standby mode before you land. Otherwise, you're risking to damage the TGP. You need to select the TGP and set it to standby mode. I forgot to do that before takeoff and before landing as well. Now, in terms of weapons, the F-16 at the moment for air-to-air only has the AIM-9X and the other AIM-9s, AIM-9M, stuff like that, and the AIM-120. Now, the F-16, the Block 50s don't use the AIM-7 Sparrow, obviously. Now, for air-to-ground, we have the GBUs, the laser-guided bombs, we have the dumb bombs, we have the Snake Eyes or the Air series of bombs that are high drag bombs, and we also have the cluster bombs, the CBU-97, and the other one. So, and also we have rockets as well, and the gun. The external lights on the F-16 don't work; they're not implemented at the moment. Neither is the taxi/landing nose wheel light as well. We just gotta make sure we don't scrape those Humvees with the wingtip. And also, wing flex is not added at the moment. Otherwise, when you have that AIM-120 mounted on the wing, that thing flexes a lot. But the sound in the DCS F-16 is the best, guys. That is by far the best sounding fighter that Eagle Dynamics has done, in my opinion. Alrighty, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching this episode of the DCS F-16C Viper Block 50. Obviously, I apologize again for not being able to upload videos for the past 5 months. Thank you very much for sticking around, guys. I really appreciate that. Let me know what you want to see in the F-16. Thank you very, very much, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.